Welcome back. This is Speech Class at the Accent Channel, and I'm Jessica. In these weekly classes, I'm here to help you improve your spoken English. I'm a speech language pathologist, if you didn't know, who specializes in speech, voice, and pronunciation improvement, and I also teach dialects and accents to actors and actresses. But in these classes, we focus on American pronunciation, rhythm, intonation, and all that great stuff that's going to help you become a better speaker. In today's lesson, we're going to focus on letters. Bear with me. I know that doesn't sound super exciting, but I promise it's going to be helpful. We use letters all the time, and you need to know how to pronounce them. We're also going to work on acronyms. We use acronyms all the time in English, and you need to know how to pronounce them. So settle in, grab a pen, and let's get started. So let's start with the alphabet. I know you've probably learned the alphabet already. It's probably one of the first things that you learned when you were learning to speak English. But at that point in your English journey, you probably weren't too concerned with pronunciation. You were just trying to learn this new alphabet. So in today's lesson, we're going to work on the pronunciation of letters. Your brain is still attached to your old alphabet. For example, if your native language is one of the Romance languages, so if your native language is Spanish, French, Italian, Portuguese, or Romanian, you look at this letter and your brain probably thinks E. And in English, that doesn't work. This is the letter E, and this is the letter I. So not only are we working on getting the pronunciation of letters to be correct, because some of them are a little weird, we're also retraining your old habits, your old speech habits, or your habits of recognizing letters from your old language. We need to override that when you're speaking English, so that when someone asks you to say a letter or spell your name, you're giving them the right letters. So why is this important? Well, we actually pronounce letters all the time. We're often asked to spell things when we're giving basic information like our name, address, email address. I always have to spell my last name because when I say it out loud, Kioski, no one has any idea how to spell that or write it down or put it into the computer. So I immediately spell my last name. It's Kioski, Kijowski, just to save time. And I'm a native speaker, so I can only imagine how much longer it would take if I were not a native speaker. So if this is a problem for you as well, you really want to practice spelling these letters when giving your last name, especially over the phone. It saves so much time. Email is another thing. This happened to me just yesterday. My Netflix account was hacked and someone removed my email. So I had to call them because it was just the easiest way to get through. And I had to give them some information, but I had to put a new email address on the account. Well, email addresses are usually our names or some, old nickname that we used in college or something strange, but very often you have to spell it out for the person on the phone. Again, if your accent or pronunciation is interfering, this can get really frustrating and confusing. So you want to make sure that you're saying the letters of your email address correctly. Now, there are tons of other places that we use letters, but those are just some of the really common ones that you may encounter. So pronouncing letters correctly can save you tons of frustration and tons of confusion. Let's practice the alphabet. A, B, C, D, E, F, G, H, I, J, K, L, M, N O P Q R S T U V W X Y Z. So now that we know we can correctly pronounce every letter in the alphabet, we're ready to work on acronyms. So what is an acronym? An acronym is a word or a name made up of letters or parts of words. It's usually the first letter or the first part of a word. Some examples of acronyms are SCUBA, which means self-contained underwater breathing apparatus, or LASER, which means light amplification by stimulated emission of radiation. I actually didn't know that laser was an acronym. I just thought it was a word. So that's new to me as well. I had no idea that it meant light amplification by stimulated emission of radiation. I've always just pronounced it laser. But that is an acronym. They take parts of those words, they take the letters and turn them into a pronounceable word. Now, we actually have a different name for words that are made up of letters but don't turn into a pronounceable word. These are called initialisms, and some examples are FBI, HMO, or ASAP. These are common expressions that we use every day, but they're not really pronounceable words. So, if you want to be a total know-it-all, acronyms are different than initialisms. Acronyms are groups of letters that turn into pronounceable words like laser or SCUBA. Initialisms are abbreviations or letters that are used as an expression, but they're not really pronounceable words. Most people don't know the difference. Most people just call everything acronyms. So to keep it simple, that's what we're going to do as well. Although in the next segment of our lesson, we're going to practice some initialisms. So let's get to it. It's time to practice acronyms, and as we practice, you'll notice there's a lot of equal stress on every syllable in these acronyms. There's also a lot of W and Y shadow connection. It makes sense because you're connecting a lot of vowels. So pay attention to the equal stress, pay attention where you're emphasizing, and pay attention to the W and Y shadow. 24/7. AC. ASAP. LGBTQ. BLT. Yeah, these really feel like words. When you say them, it's almost as if you're saying a word. BLT. BYOB. EST. CST. Remember, there's no sound for C in American English. We have the S sound or the S sound like we're using here to say C. And that letter C can also represent the K sound or the K sound. But there's no sound. This is not a sound. It's the letter C pronounced with the S sound. Don't you love English pronunciation? Moving on to PST. Really find the Y shadow there. PST. FYI. GM. GMO. ID. IQ. OJ. PB&J. R&R. Q&A. Notice in all of these with this and, Because of the rhythm and because of the way I'm connecting, I'm saying n, and I'm completely skipping the D. And you can too. Try that again. Just say n. Don't say and, say n. PB and J. R&R. Q&A. Yes, that's the rhythm of English. PTO. PDA. PI. RIP. RSVP. That one is equal on every syllable. RSVP. But the connection is still there. Scoot that R over. RSVP. RSVP. And in English, we use that as a noun and sometimes as a verb. For example, a noun. I sent my RSVP to the wedding. That means I sent the physical note, the noun. But I might ask my friend, did you RSVP for the wedding? As a verb, did you respond yet? So we could use that as a noun or a verb, but always say it the same way, RSVP. SPF. TBA. TBD. They mean almost the same thing, so don't get confused with those. AKA. UFO. YTD. DOB. And this one's common. I can't tell you how many people will just ask, what's your DOB? What's your date of birth? That's how they ask you. It's shorter. CIA. FBI. Notice when we say the letter F, even though F is a consonant letter, it's also a consonant sound. When we say the letter F, we actually have to add a vowel to say the letter F. F. I'm saying an E vowel, then the F. This is important because if you're dealing with articles, either whether to say the or the, or whether to use a or an, you're going to treat that as a vowel. Even though it's a consonant letter and it looks like a consonant, FBI, you're going to treat it as a vowel. So I would not say a FBI agent. I would say an FBI agent. That's a grammar problem, so that one's super important. With the, it's just a pronunciation thing, but I wouldn't say the FBI agent. I would say the FBI agent, because I'm actually pronouncing a vowel. That is so confusing, but now that you know it, pay attention to those letters that actually require a vowel to say them. ATM. CBS. NBC. PBS. BO. BTW. DIY. ETA. FAQ. OMG. I say that one much too frequently for my age. I need to work on cutting back on OMG. It's just so expressive. Anyway, PS. PR. MIA. We use this acronym as an idiom sometimes to describe someone that you haven't seen in a long time. So they're not technically missing in action, but you might describe it that way because you haven't seen them for a while. For example, I haven't seen John in class lately. He's been MIA. So that's how you'd use it. HR. OCD. MD. Nice work. This is a common word lesson, so if you want to see permanent improvement, you should practice this lesson at least 7 times. Yes, that's once a day for the next week. You don't even have to watch the whole lesson with all my explanations. Just watch that once. After you've watched the full lesson one time, feel free to skip ahead to practice the phrases.